Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on a Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil. Most notably, we're going to be doing the opening of a Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil in the desperate attempt to actually get this thing done. So, roughly speaking, I got the basics done, i.e. the preface and the title, as well as sorting everything out. For those curious, the fonts I'm using are going to be mostly, I used medieval, what is it called? Medieval Sharp up here, and all the headings are going to be in Germania 1, and I'm using Roboto as the body text. Is there any particular reason I'm using any of those? These ones sounded about right, and Roboto 1 looks nice, so fuck you, I like Roboto. Well, roughly speaking, the goal today is we want to get as much done as possible. We want to get at least like a good... I want to get a good part in. We've already kind of curated what needs curating, kind of the unfortunate bits, so I don't really need to think about too hard about that. The main thing that needs to kind of get going more than anything is actually just writing everything down. So that's what the plan is, mostly. Nothing too exciting today, just, you know, making sure the game works. Ta-da! Also, I should say this. I would like to thank, I'm going to completely mispronounce your name here, brother. Valentino. Valentino. I would like to thank Valentino for following. Pog, yes, indeed. We're making there. We're making progress, folks. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. So, also, this artwork is by Cecilia Lowenthal, which you should totally check her out because she's on Behance and it's very good artwork and I enjoy it quite a bit. So, that's that pretty much. So what we need to do is how do we actually... Because pretty much like one of the hard things with playing the game is the game is going to be split down into phases because, you know, turns out generational games are a little bit more complicated than just it's there. So let's see. We'll do actually writing the saga. I see Maesta in a PDF. I see. Compile Maesta into a PDF. I've been debating on it. The actual like Maesta Discord has said like we want to do something like that one day. They just haven't at all. So I might compile everything into a PDF one of these days. Similar to one game I'm actually going over this Saturday. I'm going to have to actually compile into a PDF because it's just a bunch of web pages on a blogspot page. So let's see, writing the saga, playing the game. So yeah, they've been talking about Mess is an old project. Let's see, the Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil. Also get ready for an ad, so if you need to take a break or something, go do it now. So, Saga Blood, Iron, and Soil is a game. Actually, takes place... Actually, is a generational game taking place during the Saga era and beyond of Iceland. It's a generational game taking place during the Saga era and beyond of Iceland. Well, honestly, here's the thing. When it comes to like Maesta, the fact that it is on things like DeviantArt pages and stuff is kind of... The people who are playing Maesta are the ones who are already on DeviantArt and looking at all the pages and know everything. It's one of those things like, it's like you've already finished it before you began. Let's see, Saga Era and Beyond of Iceland, putting the... Like, yeah, that's the problem with Maesta, and is like we kind of think about it a lot because it pops up on TG quite a bit, but like it's a niche. It's a real big niche, and it's a big niche for people. Well, maybe calling it a big niche is not the correct term because they might enjoy that. Can you view half the pit? Yeah, I've debated on it because like here's one of the issues. Like one of the big issues with the like Maesta, with Maesta in general, um, is that a lot of those pages are actually formatted for particular, like for Deviant. They're formatted in a very particular way. And that I originally thought, oh, hey, I'm going to be able to just copy and paste and put it in a document. It'll take me 5 seconds to fix. No. No, 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 no. DeviantArt formatting is fucking arcane in how it like handles and transfers to other documents. So it's like, oh god. Yeah, I would have to write it. And even I can't even just like, oh well, I'll just copy this section over. No. It would literally be a full rewrite of the entire thing. It would be a nightmare. And I remember when I was going over the Maesta, I actually asked them being like, do you guys, one, have a PDF? And two, it was like, do you have a PDF? Do you have a, or do you have like the raws? And they didn't have either of them. Everything was on the DA page. It was written in DA, which is like, wow, what? Let's see, taking the beyond of Iceland, becoming, let's see, the players take the role of a family fleeing, family leaving Norway, family leaving Norway and leaving the Scandinavian world, to forge their own destiny in the frigid cold of Iceland. Once they land, 400 almost 400 years await them until from the rise of the Icelandic Commonwealth, Icelandic Commonwealth, to their submission to Norway. To their submission to Norway. To play the Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil. To play the Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil. How do I want to word this? Because pretty much like I need to set it up like right away. Like here's this thing. Here's how this is gonna actually play out, and here's how it's gonna go. Because if you don't kind of establish that early, people are gonna get a little bit weird. Okay, so we need to do a Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil. A Saga of Blood, Iron, and Soil is played with I'm gonna say with 3 to 4 d6s per player. D6s, or I should say 6-sided dice. 6-sided dice per 3 a group, actually I should say is 3 to 5. That's the usual group size. 3 to 5 players. Let's see. Is there anything else I really need to consider? I don't like putting in like writing utensils because I don't know how the fuck you play. Let's see. How do I want to word this? I know. A law speaker. We can do so. A law speaker to run the game, and a desire to experience the rich, bloody history of Iceland. Yeah. Because people were actually asking, like, yeah, I remember when I was going over this, people were like, oh, well, Christian era kind of seems a little bit boring. There isn't a lot to do. And I actually was doing a little bit of looking around. Shit gets hardcore at that era. Shit gets real hardcore. Why does Mayest have a board class? I thought it was a pregnancy game. Here's the thing. Again, we're taking a detour, everybody. You know that game of like Icelanders and shit? No, okay, we're taking a detour to the fetish games. So, the thing is, Mayesta, in its core, it's a pregnancy game, or it's a preg game. However, there's one thing to note: it is not just a preg game; it is a hyper preg game. Very different. There's a very specific line you have to remember to draw there for a second. Usually the people inside of that particular weird fetish community, the hyperpreg people, are also in the vor community, are also in like the inflation community. It's shit like that. Like they're in the Venn diagram of weird shit. There's a lot of crossover with that particular thing. Because there's a lot of people working on Masta. It's not just one person writing it. No, there's a lot of people working on it. Some of them can be, yeah. Some of them can like very much be just, yeah. No, some of them, yeah, no. Some of them are very much no-nos, and I like to consider myself pretty on the up and up. But yeah, no, that it kind of freaked me out. That was in the weird fetish game. That was a curious case of degeneracy. It kind of freaked me out, to be honest. Some of them were like that, because I think the best way to word it is that it's so earnest in how it handles itself. It is so like completely on board, and it you read it, you're like, what the fuck? Okay, a player will take the role of a character. Actually, what would be I guess we just call them characters. I'll take the role of a character from. Well, I mean, if you were to say to them, is it a fetish thing? They would probably say yes. However, it's kind of progressed beyond that to them because you invest so much time in something. Like, inevitably, it kind of becomes more than it, then it becomes less than it. It's very strange. That's why I actually find it endearing that the FAP guys were, like, just very upfront. Like, FAP is just disgusting. Like, this is just weird porn. Like, alright, God bless them. God bless you guys, you fucking weird furries. Player will take the role of a character from... player will take the role of a character from the initial group of settlers on the farm. This will be considered their acting character. This will be considered their acting character for the time being. As this is a generational game, these characters will age, change, and eventually die. Should a acting character, should a player, yeah, you go into it, you don't quite expect what you're going into. Don't worry about it. I mean, this is a fucking stream where I'm just literally writing things. Not exactly the most like, yeah, gamer hours here. It happens. So let's see. Should a player wish they can retire, quote unquote, retire an acting character to take up a new one. Take up a new one of the same family, take up a new one related to the family. A player cannot take the role of any character. Actually, I should say any character that has been an acting character, such as another player's acting character, retired character, or let's see, player connected to the role character who's already been. Let's see, who has already been in acting character. So pretty much the idea here is I want to establish very early on, you're going to be cycling through characters pretty actively. And if you retire a character, you can't play that character again. Nobody can play the character again. They're retired. Hello, Valentine. Welcome aboard. Hello. We're unfortunately talking about a weird hyper-preg game, and I'm writing a game about Icelanders. So welcome aboard. I apologies. So yeah, I still need to yell at Seth and see if he wants me to make a game for him. He's mentioned tabletop games before. So if I can get his okay, I can become that guy. And if he gave Jap a bunch of money, I can say Jap too, because that's his name. You gave him a bunch of money for the amazing cultivation sim. He can give me money. Take the role of character who's already been an acting character. So, when a character performs an action, Seth Zintok, otherwise known as the Funny Meme Man. Funny Meme Man. I've actually spoken with Seth before. Very nice guy, very well spoken. If you haven't, if you never haven't, he has a stream he did on DLive, which was all about immunology. Go watch that. You can find it on YouTube. The medical stream is actually the medical stream is very fascinating because he's a really smart fucking dude. And immunology, I'm like, I learned something new today. He streamed it at a weird hour, so I couldn't watch it live. So let's see, when a character performs an action, they will roll. They will roll a 2d6 plus I call them skills. They will roll 2d6 plus skill. Attempting to hit, to reach or exceed a target number. Yeah, no, the way he kind of approached things, that is a guy who's had to explain things to people for a lot of time. That man is taking courses, at least 1 or 2 courses in public speaking. He knew his shit. When a character performs an action, they roll 2d6 plus skill, attempting to reach or exceed a target number. If successful, they will pass the check. If they cannot, they will fail. Not exactly being like super. I'm not exactly like breaking any boundaries here with this system. It's literally a 2d6 system. However, that's not the point. The thing is, it's not the point to be, you know, big and exciting in this particular game, just because we have a lot of side mechanics with it. What we'll do is, let's see, automatic. Walking over to, actually walking across a pasture. Scaling a low wall. Actually, I can probably put in examples later. But roughly speaking, these are what you're going to be doing, with the average being 7. With, again, all it is just take 2d6, you roll, try to hit over whatever the target number is. Some of these are actually like, wow, you can't hit 15 on a 2d6. Yeah, you can't. And yeah, you'll quickly understand the pure nightmare that some of those things just, it's like, God, please. When you hit the classes, you'll understand the true depth of autism that goes into it. I just received like 8,000 messages. All right, everybody. We have someone new coming from the website. I'd like to thank some random guy 9 minutes ago from Wendwin, Belgium. Hello, you Flemish fuck. Yeah, the custom dice. Mass is not played on the table. I refuse to believe that Mass is played on the table. I think it is entirely driven online, because if you assume it's online, this makes a lot more sense. Actually, like, this makes a lot more sense to do that, like a /R 2d2 or whatever. See, my favorite is the platinum dice, which isn't even a fucking dice. Let's see. When a character is opposed by another, they will make an opposed check. Make an opposed check. Both characters will roll. We'll roll 2d6 plus skill. Roll 2d6 plus skill, and attempt to beat the other. If there is a tie, the character with the highest skill is victorious. If both skills are even, then it's a draw. And they will roll again. I usually don't like putting in draws, but this one it makes a little bit more sense because of, that's literally, you guys are so evenly matched, it's like it's impossible to actually tell like who beat who. So yeah, this is the game. At its core, this is the game. We've kind of established right away. You'll take this from an acting character, and next we need to do. So now that this is done, what I'm gonna do is we need to actually break the game up a little bit. We need to see how we're gonna do this. So first things first. We can do, maybe we start with, since the family is going to be the most important, do we start with characters or the family? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with, Let's actually go to Bloodcoin and steal real fast. Because we go here. Let's see. We need to do... God, would you count it more as a clan, or would you count it more as a noble house? I mean... I guess we'd count it more as a clan. We have to redo some aspects of this, but it would be the same idea. Yeah, as you can tell, this game's a little bit rough. So sorting through everything is like, okay, I gotta do this, gotta do this. So if we do, we open up with character creation. We then go into, actually we'll do, yeah, well, actually, we'll do the characters and their saga. The characters and their saga. And what we'll do is we'll open up immediately. First things first. We're going to do the flight. We're going... What in God's name is going on out there? There's a terrible noise. We'll do the flight from... Norway. Norway, the extended family. That's our first two things. So flight from Norway is why we're here. And our extended family is going to effectively be, you know, the families that are included. Because... Oh, Benoy, yeah. Ben is a fascinating creature. Somebody... What's the name of the heading font? Let's see. This particular font, this is Medieval Sharp. I try to get, like, the Norse font here, but you can't transfer things over. But this might also be one of those games that get PDF'd, so... Yes, it is Medieval Sharp. For the headings itself, these are Germania 1. The more you know. So, yeah, Ben is a fascinating duck. Ben is a fascinating human being. Someone actually wanted to pay me to review his games. I'm not fucking with you either. Somebody wanted to pay me actual money to review Benoit's games. I beat around just because. What do you even say in that regard? Be like, yeah, I'll accept money for this. Like, just do a fucking 5-minute review. Like, my brain just refused to even acknowledge it. Like, I'm like, you're memeing. This is a meme. Like, no, like that is just, oh god. And mind you, this was the same guy being like, the media is corrupt, and then immediately tries to get me to pay me to do a review. I'm like, oh god. So, Flight from Norway is going to establish why we're here. The extended family is going to go over that because, like, the idea is you're going to start there. You're going to sail over to Iceland, and your crew is probably going to be about, like, 40-ish people. You're going to have about 40, 50 people actually aboard your ship. You're gonna land. Some of them are just gonna fuck off. They're like they pretty much paid for your transport to get to Iceland. They're gonna go and do their own thing. But you're gonna have about 3-4 families living in the same longhouse with you. These things are incredibly impersonal. Your personal space may be a fucking little stall with your wife. That's it. Nothing is personal, though. You don't have, like, individual rooms or anything. It's like you kind of just sleep out in the common hall and hope for the best. So let's see. The Flight from Norway, the extended family, and these are the main characters, kind of. It's kind of this larger family that you've have, where eventually I'm assuming, like, my idea is, like, people are going to naturally gravitate to, like, one family or, like, one or two families, and they'll become kind of the key families as they kind of grow and change. Everyone will start kind of getting intermingled until it's like this one massive extended family. That's the idea, anyway. So, the extended family. Then we go into character skills. No, actually, we go into character age, character skills, character destiny, or actually, it'd be character vid, and then finally, we do our character traits. These are our initial start of this is what we do. We have to kind of explain what the hell's going on, who's who, what's going on. Then we immediately do the clan, I guess. You know, then the clan, in which we do all the basic clan stuff. So just basic clan stuff. I'm just going to put that here, which is going to then follow up into combat, intrigue, and then we will do, like, I want to call it through the ages. Unless we do, like, basic clan stuff, and then we can also put in this particular section land and such. And then we can probably do the honor economy, combat, intrigue, through the ages. So, alright, so this is the basic. What on my PDFs, my actual, like, PDF files that I make, I tend to use incredibly small fonts. The fuck was that? Fucking siren head looking ass. Yeah, I use incredibly small fonts because people say I type too large. So usually I usually go for about 6, 7 for my, like, actual PDFs. But I get where you're coming from. I'm partially blind too. These ones, yeah, for these ones I use 12-point font because I want people to be actually to read them. I'm well, yeah, when you, like, read my PDFs and zoom in and stuff, that's fine. Like, I totally expect that. Even I do that. Just because I can't read them hardly, but that's, like, just the normal way of doing things. Okay, so we need to do the characters in their saga. There we go. So, the family saga. The family saga. Saga begins as many Icelandic sagas did. The Flight from Norway. Actually, how do I want to word this? An individual character. Character can have a large effect on the saga they are a part of. Some of them have gone down in history. as heroic souls or villainous monsters. Villainous monsters. A character is individuals can have a large effect on the saga they are part of. Some of them are gone down history as heroic souls or villainous monsters. These characters are the main drivers of the story and the tales of the family. But they are only a small part of the larger story taking place. Today's young man is tomorrow's ancestor. So understanding how to build characters, and how to build characters and how they work is essential to telling their tale and the saga of their family. So then we open up immediate with the flight from Norway, which I'm probably going to have to put in a section up here, like preface, and then put in a thing right here, which we'll call is a brief history of Iceland, in which I will literally write the entirety of Iceland's story. Actually not the entirety of Iceland's story, but kind of the idea of like, Iceland began here, in this era, at this time, because of these reasons, gradually moving off. Here are, kind of what happened, here's the stories, here's how we got here. That's pretty much going to be the main draw, the main idea. So, I'm going to put that there, but I need... Can I see? Does this have what I'm looking for? Yeah. Yeah, no, let's see. Wildling tribes. Broken Spear Clan of the Fens. They are themselves first and the tribe second. Armaments. And Bear Singers. Clans of the Vale in the north. Similar ideas. Dothraki Khalasar. Addition and rating. Clan Bear Singer. Legendary figures. So let's see. Legends of the Clan. Seasonal events. So actually we need to probably... Unless we open up with... So a flight from Norway. Harald Fairhair. Harald Fairhair, please tell me. As the first king of Norway. Hello, Fairhair. How do you do? 832. Yes, okay. 932. 850 to 932. Symbol of independence. Medieval critically scrutinized. Father of the Norwegian nation. So if we go here, double check our timeline that we've established. About 874 to about 900. So yeah, he was alive during that time. So that's going to be kind of the big flight. Most people are running away from Fairhair. So Norway during the late during the late 9th century was being slowly centralized under the power of Harald Fairhair. Fairhair, who forcefully united the disparate petty kings, under his banner as the first king of the Norwegians. For many, this was intolerable. This was intolerable to live under, and fled to Norse holdings elsewhere. Some would end up in, let's see, the one with the Danelaw established. Danelaw. The Great Heathen Army in the 9th century. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So, some would end up in the Danelaw, of England, of old England, while others would end at the Faroe Islands, or the Isles themselves. Many though would fall. Many though would seek to stake their own claim, their own lands, far from the authority of Norway. The only land able was one simply known as Iceland. And then if we actually, I need to do Reykjavik. Let's see. Norsemen to have established by Ingolf Arnason. Ingolf Arnason has established his own small. Let's see. For the stood there, found the house of his town. Let's see. Gotta make sure. Establish his own small claim to the land, and many would follow. And many would follow in his steps. The family is one such batch of individuals. Is one such batch of hopefuls striking out from their Norwegian homes. In search of land, property, and independence. So let me see if I can think of this correctly. That's how Master works. You ain't getting knocked up by dudes. You get knocked up by literally the spirits of the world. That is, however, one of my big issues with Master, because Master doesn't quite play on that very well. Let's see. Checking out from their Norwegian homes in search of land, property, independence. Taking a long ship far. Taking a long ship, they travel. The journey is difficult. Nope, that you do not get. Taking a long ship, the journey is difficult, but the group will land. The group will land on their new home, on the shores of their new home. And actually, let's do a little bit of investigation because I need to double check something. We need to do a Viking longship. Tell me about Viking longships. Let's see. It's wall trades. Originals, Long Serpent, then we have replicas. So pretty much who owned ships in Viking times? There we go. Who owned ships? Tell me. Who the hell owned these things? Let's see, Nordic Bronze Age. You have more than a fairing. You have a Nar. I guess you would be expected just to own a ship, at least a basic one. So, fuck it. We're just gonna go with that. Somebody owns a ship. That's all we know. Somebody, in fact, owns a boat. The group will land the shores of their new home. The first question to ask. First question to ask is when. As the families land, through 874 to 930, Iceland saw host to a plethora of new arrivals. Escaping fair hair's conquests, hopefuls in search of land, or simply those desperate enough, actually those escaping their past. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little chart, because this is the fun part with this kind of game, is that I can make a bunch of fucking charts for people. And charts are fun. Charts allow us to roll dice. So the flight from Norway is going to be heading to available was once simply known as Iceland. First question to ask is when. First question to ask is when. 874 to 930, Iceland saw host of new arrivals. And next we have to go to here, we go to here, we go to here. Got to open up a brand new Google Sheet just to make sure everything is the way it ought to be. So, we don't need you anymore. The group may choose to roll or select one which is the most appropriate, in which they're going to be rolling effectively a 1d3. So it's going to be a time of arrival. Time of arrival, 1d3. Supplies. Actually, we'll do initial horde. Initial horde, and then we'll do other families. There we go. So time of arrival, early, and in which will be 870, roughly about 874. 874 to about, we will say about like 890 even. Like these are the kind of the first guys arriving. This is the kind of the first 20 years, and this initial horde is you probably have fuck all. You have probably very little. However, what we are going to do is we're going to do initial honor. Hey, you guys are, we're going to give you initially 15 honor. However, as with many things, so we'll do established, we'll do about 890 to about 910. Higher horde, less honor. Families, there's only going to be like, there's going to be one other family. There's going to be 2 other families, and there's going to be 4 other families already kind of established. But 5, 20. And then late, which is going to be 8, which is going to be 900 to, so it'd be 9. We do that, and then we do 1d3, actually 1d6, and 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. By virtue of just arriving later, it's kind of the idea of like, you're not as well respected at that point. You're someone taking over land that we all want. And it's the early eras, you know, the kind of the early time is you don't have much money, you have a lot of honor because you were fleeing. You are the ones who encountered fair hair early on, and you got your shit rocked. People know who you are, sort of, by virtue of like, you're the guy who got conquered by fair hair. You're welcome aboard, welcome to Iceland. You're gonna be a great asset. But if you arrive later, you have the kind of the difficulty of being a late arrival. You know, you're kind of another face, but you have a lot more money. And by that, it's more along the lines of like, you've prepared a little bit more rather than going in with literally nothing and but in, you know, a bunch of hope. You know, it's actually like you were going in there with, you're another face. However, you do have the advantage of kind of knowing like what's arriving, and you know that you're gonna have to get ready. You know what to expect. So 1d6, we will do roll 1d6. So we'll do the time of arrival. We'll do actually time of arrival. Roughly dictates when the families arrived to set up their brand new farm. Their brand new farm. The earlier they are, the better established and well known they can become. but later arrivals know what to expect, and bring. The initial horde is what the family may purchase immediately and bring along with them. While initial honor is how well known they are initially, as well as what they can claim territory-wise. Finally, the longer the families take to arrive, the more potential, the more neighbors seek to claim the valuable lands of Iceland. It's lowering options and cutting off vital supplies. So, yeah, so we have what the characters are like. Then we have our initial flight from Norway. When have we arrived? We've arrived here at this time, and we are going to kick ass, take some names, and eat some bubblegum, but I'm all out of bubblegum because it's 874. So let's just do a quick roll right away. I rolled a 2, so we arrived. Let's say 880. 6 years after, we're like, okay, we gotta leave. Fairhair has officially killed us, and we need to run. Yes, Maesta is a coin flipping game. You are correct on that assumption. It is a game about flipping coins. But each D2 also does something slightly different. It's great. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. So, we will do the extended family. Norse households were large and sprawling groups of individuals working their farm. Working their farm. All yeah, no. There is no fixing the dice. Like, the thing is, if you change the dice, you have to change all the rest of the systems. It's great. That's why Maesta is like one of those things like you can't really change too much about. It is very difficult to. The Norse households were large and sprawling groups of individuals working their farm and territory. Each member being a part of a particular each member being a part of a particular social class. And then we go to the Miro. We scroll up. Where do we have our let's see, each member being a part of a particular social class. Chief, Huskarl, Karl, Fragisi, and Thralls. Only one man can be the chief, and his family commands a certain amount of respect. Among the initial group. Huskarls are men sworn to the chief, whether they are blood brothers or simply paid bodyguards. Bodyguards are up to debate whether or simply paid guards. Paid guards are moot. They don't hold land. They don't hold land, but enforce the chief's will. Carls are freemen. They form the backbone of the middle and lower class as they work the fields and trade. For example, this right here, my current setup here is this is Norse Viking. This is Norse Trader Notepad. Norse Trader Notepad would be a Carl. He's not a chief. He doesn't own land. He's not a Huskarl because I'm not sworn to anybody. I'm just a free man. I have a boat and I ship goods. That's what I do. GG said it was better than 3.5. Yep, Carl. It gets a little bit weird because you can kind of think about it like this, where Carls get a little bit weird because note this term, free men. Your wife is a little bit different. Women have a very weird term for it, and that's what Huskarl literally is, just a sworn man. It is a man in service to another. That's all it is. Huskarls don't really have, like, Huskarls usually have like a very specific connotation in like certain, projects and stuff, but no, that's literally all it is. It is you are a man sworn to another. Work the fields and trade. I believe this is I believe this is literally pronounced with like a th sound, like a th. That's why it's thralls. That's why it's pronounced as the, even though I think it's like thre, like thrells. That's why I'm just calling them thralls, because they're just what they are. I believe these Frigasi. Frigasi are freed slaves. They are a fundamental part of society, as they form fundamental part of society, but are still in, actually, how do I want to, the term wouldn't necessarily be indebted. Still bound to their original owner's family. Finally, a thrall is a slave. Either by debt, capture, or willing desperation. Thralls are in direct service to their master, and will direct service to the master, and in turn their master serves them. The master keeps them safe, working. If you want to play a thrall, you totally can. I'm not going to stop you from playing a thrall. I'm going to put a footnote here. Footnote. Many thralls can free them, can buy their freedom with service. In service to upgrade to a Frigasi. I believe it's after 2 generations. After two generations, they are officially declared Carls. Because the odd thing is, if one of these guys, the Vajasis, if they don't have an heir of some sort, all of their possessions go back to their original master. because according to Viking law, that's the technical owner. But you could free a thrall. That person 2 generations down the line, you know, over time, they can promote up, in which they can then promote further up. So you can go from you can start as pretty much the game as like a thrall family, and then work your up to becoming a chieftain. That is entirely possible. Hard, but not impossible. There we go. Let's see. A standard household will have around we'll say about 20 to 30 people working the land around them, all centered around the main longhouse. Okay, so all centered around the main longhouse. Everyone lives together. Everyone exists together. And everyone must work. Because remember, you may be a slave, but if you escape, there's not like you're going anywhere. Remember that. It's not like, oh boy, let me escape off into the sunset, because if you hit the sunset, you've probably just hit the ocean. So, everyone lives together, everyone exists together, and everyone must work together to survive. The players will take the actually, how do I want to word this? Players will take the role of these various families and individuals. Character within and individuals inside of the longhouse. Actually, players will take the role of these various families and individuals who live on the farm and beyond. Who live on the farm, growing and changing together. Growing and changing together. No, we want to do comma. And I'm literally going to put a developer note here, which we're going to talk about. Probably it's going to be like single family, multifamily play. All right, I'm actually going to take a break for a second, and by break, I mean I am going to get something to drink while you listen to an ad. Ha! Good timing, me. Mashi Mashi, I am alive. Ow. Oh yeah, about the Maesta dice. On bronze, silver, and gold dice, 2-4 respectively considered a fumble. There is no good way of doing it because it's a fucking dice system. And mind you, this is also not even considering the adventure die system. The I think it's called crystal dice. Crystal dice are D10s. They just are D10s. You gotta remember that. There is no better way of doing it. There is none. There never has been any good way of doing it. Yeah, no, welcome to the wonderful adventure. So, growing and changing together. So, the law speaker may dictate that the players take the role of an individual family. Notably yeah, because that, mind you, the crystal dice is fundamental to the entire adventure aspect of the game. Because that's a thing. They dictate the players take the role of individual family, notably the chief's family. Notably the chief's family and their immediate retainers. However, another method would be a multi-family play, in which players are given a family to, quote, manage. Correct. Platinum dice are just a raw 7 value for no reason. Let's see, and which players are a player is given a family to manage. Whether family or a thrall's family. Both methods. Let's see. Both methods have their advantages and disadvantages, and depend on the story that wishes to be told. Ideally, for simplicity's sake, keep with a single family play with most of the other members of the cast. You can't do that because platinum dice are mentioned in the skills. Because that's literally, like, the weird thing with Maesta is that it's a lot of shorthand. The fact that platinum dice are present are because platinum dice are, you can upgrade things to platinum dice and you can degrade platinum dice down to other things, down to things like a gold dice. It gets really messy really quickly, and there's literally no good way of doing it. This is a system, Maesta is a system that is just kind of built on top of each other into a giant mess, and it's great. It's a disaster area, and I love it. Play with, for simplicity's sake, keep the single family. Play with most other, with most of the other members, the cast, being either side characters, or, quote, in service to the main family. That's just for simplicity's sake. That's kind of how it's gonna go. And take the role of these various family individuals live in the farm, growing and changing together. And that, gonna have to say it now because And we're going to put this developer note on the next page, because we need to put 2 notes on here, actually. Actually, we're going to do a side note. Because we need to make 2 very important little side notes here. So side note on thralls. On thralls. Yes, slavery. Not exactly the most pleasant subject, but one that was fundamental. Fundamental to the Norse economy and culture. You can simply, quote, ignore thralls. But you immediately remove some of the nuance that takes place during this era. This time with them. You also ignore that a vast majority of the original, that a large chunk of the original female population of Iceland wasn't actually Norse, but Irish, but Gaelic, Irish was Gaelic actually, but Gaelic slaves taken forcefully as wives by raiders. This is a savage era in some respects. While culture can bloom and beauty is abound, this is also an era of warfare, bloody feuds, slavery. Don't ignore it. Don't pretend it didn't exist. Don't pretend it doesn't exist, because it did. It did, and form the foundation of Iceland today. I'm putting that in because people get really, really weird about slavery. In just about any game, people are going to get real weird about slavery, so I'm going to just mention, like, yes, thralls are a thing, you can't get rid of them. So we've gotten that. So we've established this, we've established our flight from Norway, and I guess we can add in a little chart here. We'll make a little chart just for fun. We will say, we'll roll a 1d6, and we'll do the number of families. Actually, do we want to do this? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think that's appropriate. So we've established all of this. So next now we get to go to creating a character in the saga. Character creation. When a character is first made, when a character is selected to become an acting character, they'll need to be created. They'll need to be created. This is done in a series of steps. Detailed below. A character may not seem overly complex, but they are simply a part of a greater story. Like, because that's one of the big things. It's like you're gonna go through like maybe 4 or 5 characters. You're probably gonna go through more than 4 or 5 characters. you're gonna probably you're gonna go through a few, and I want to kind of emphasize you're gonna go through a few characters, so I don't want to really bog you down with you have these little tiny. I don't want it to take an hour to make a character because you might go through I don't want you to get super attached, but I also want you to get attached. It's a fine line. It's a very fine line. And then we're going to start off with and we're going to do that. And then we need to start off with character age. In Norse society, an adult is roughly considered to be around 15. Old enough to carry a blade and assist around the house. There is no such thing as going to school. Or let's see, and assist around the house. To become an adult is to be thrust into the responsibilities of such. To actually, in contrast, this is an era where the weak die fast, and by the time a character reaches 50, they are considered to be old. They're considered to be older than most. Characters will die. Of old age. But they will also die young. And frequently. Also die young in this savage age. So, first things first. The first part of character creation is choosing the age bracket of the character. The younger the character is, the more destiny, the more raw potential that they possess. They have, but the older they are, the higher chance, the more experience they have to work with and develop. Pretty much, if you want to min-max in this game, you start as young as possible, because you're just going to get more experience points, but you're also putting yourself at risk more because you're a main character. Just remove slaves without talking about it. Yeah, it's here's the thing with the Wizard of the Coast things, and when it comes to slavery and things like that, I think just removing it, Paizo did that as well. I think just removing it isn't the right way to go, because here's the thing. I'm not saying glorify slavery. No. That's not how we're supposed. I'm not going around saying slavery is the best, ha ha ha. No, you can actually have some, nuance to it. There is actually some thinking that you can actually do with it. Why do we do this? Why is it this case? And it's mostly just because we need bodies, and we don't want to. It's a society of ownership. That's kind of just how it is. I'm not saying you have to like love it. I'm saying that it's a part of it. And it's also dumb to remove it from like the bad guys. Because here's the thing, the good guys never kept slaves. In all of those settings, the good guys never kept slaves. Like, the noble knights of honor or whatever, they never were like, oh yeah, here are all my elf slaves. No one did that. No one. Not a single setting did that. It was always like, we're the evil, dark, bad, murder machine, monster, evil, guitar riffs, like I'm going to eat your soul using the power of my devil magic. They were the ones who kept the slaves. They were the one being like, slavery is good. We're supposed to not like them. And we naturally assume, well, that's a detestable action because detestable people are taking part in it. We do not like the thing, so the thing, we don't want to participate in it. That's a bad thing. Just removing it altogether doesn't magically fix it. Doesn't make people... I don't know why people were like, oh, I'm uncomfortable because this evil fantasy faction owned slaves. I'm like, who the fuck cares? They're evil. These are literally baby-eating monsters. Well, according to this, they're not supposed to be entirely... No, I'm pretty sure they're evil. Like, it's okay to have evil things. And I think it's... I think people get really afraid of it, even though it's it is a fundamental part of human history. Like, if it wasn't, we wouldn't talk about it as much. It wouldn't be such like a big deal. But it is. There have been slaves all over the world in more ways than one. And it's detestable. It's a virtue signal. That's I don't like that term very much, but it kind of is. Because at the end of the day, people like Paizo, people like that, they can't stop you from adding it. They can't stop you from having, Brungo, Brungo Murder Hoof or whatever, charging, fucking with his, dozen, slaves or whatever. You can't stop them from doing that. That's impossible. However, you can definitely have an article written about you in Dicebreaker saying that no future Pathfinder supplement will ever have slavery mentioned in it. Because people are going to read that being like, yay, we're going to buy more Pathfinder goods, or yay, we're going to buy more D&D books, yeah. That's all it is. Every company simply cares about two things. How do we reduce costs and how do we boost sales? Those are the only two things they give a shit about. And that is purely in we can do the bare minimum to increase our sales. And rather than be like, slavery is bad in like in all contexts, don't do it, but we only regulate it to the bad people who do it, that we're supposed to not like. It's like, just remove that. It doesn't make sense. And they did it entirely for the effort just to get good boy brownie points, because that's all they truly want. Because brownie points makes everybody's happy when you get brownie points. Let's see. I'm going to say like 14. This is going to be child. Actually, no, we're going to do young adult, 15, 30 benefit drawback. Yeah, old. You hit 51, you're old now. Like, you're a fucking boomer. Like, you have one little piece of destiny, you have 4 benefits, but you have 3 drawbacks. Like, this is not a good thing. You don't want to do this. That does remind me. What are you? You are... So. Tomo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Tomo. Thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, well. Character age. And then we can see, so if we just open up with this, people kind of get a good idea of like that. And what we can do actually, we'll do painting of Beowulf. Because we can just use Beowulf for most things. Because we can have old Beowulf right here, and then we can also have young Beowulf right here, with the idea of like, hey, these characters can actually age, and that's fine. Because Beowulf goes from a young man in his story to an old man, and he dies as an old man. Maybe not the best guy either. Very interesting. Many questions can be asked. Then we're gonna go over skills. Okay. So, character skills. So, character skills. Actually, age, and then we go into skills. A character's skills represent represent their training, physical, natural abilities, and general demeanor toward others. Most characters will have the basic skill. Will have the basic. Actually, characters will have a set of skills determined by their gender. As Norse society is split fairly heavily between men and women. This is not to imply that men cannot learn feminine skills, and women manly skills, simply that their upbringing is about reinforcing those particular aspects of their person. A character may also adopt new skills by selecting particular, let me see what I call them, by selecting particular benefits, which grant a brand new skill, representing new training and history. Actually, no, we want to, this has to be heading 3 if I recall. Yes. Representing new training and knowledge. This is not to imply that men cannot learn feminine skills and women manly skills, simply that they're bringing reinforcements. So we need to go here. Yeah, brownie points are brownie points. That's all it is. Here's the thing. This is my very nasty thing that get me put on very sad list, calling me a Nazi. But a majority of the people who are like who fight really hardcore for a lot of these things are the same people who, if it was in their best interest to do hardcore fucking alt-right super Nazi shit, they would. Because that's what's most beneficial to them. It's the same bullshit. If they think they could get away with it and make more money doing that than anything else, they would. Evil Hat, I think, is like a really good example of that. If Evil Hat thought, for honest to God, that, fucking, if they think they could publish a, Varg's game, legit and make money off of it more than TSL, they would have immediately, because that's what Evil Hat focuses on. They care about money. Increase sales, decrease costs. But that's just not how the world is. We can... What we can do... Actually, let's see, demeanor toward others. These are split between warfare and intrigue skills. Warfare skills are primarily physical in nature. About getting into conflicts. While intrigue skills are about thinking things through and understanding them. To represent a distinct divide in gender roles of Norse society. Men have +1 in 2 warfare skills, and women have +1 in 2 intrigue skills. This does not imply that women cannot learn to fight, or men learn to be deceptive, learn to be persuasive. Simply years of being told and taught certain ways embeds itself into the psyche of a character. If you really want to build a guy who you're going to have a +1 in minimum. You're going to have it like +1 rank. Actually, you're going to have rank 1 in 2 warfare skills. You're going to have rank 1 in 2 intrigue skills. Characters may adopt new skills by selecting particular benefits, which grant a brand. May adopt new skills by selecting particular benefits, representing new history and training. And then we go over we're going to do this in a jank-ass way, actually. Here's what we're going to do. I think this is a better way of doing this. So I think this is going to give a little bit more nuance to guys who want to be maybe a little bit more persuasive, and women who want to be a little bit more fighty. So what are the rules if I wanted to raise my son and heir as a femboy? Technically, what you would do at that point is rely on your wife to deal it. You're not gonna do that. You're a real man. If you want to train them to do that, they're gonna end up with a bunch of skills. And whoever decides to play them can, like, if you want to play your son and raise them as such, you want to retire your main character. You select him when he becomes able to be played. And you select a few benefits, which just represent just that background of being raised incredibly feminine. And you can imply, my father tried to raise me as a daughter because he genuinely thought I was a girl for years. Or my mother raised me primarily because my dad just didn't give a shit. He was like, hey, don't worry, my son's fine. My son takes after me. He'll be great. And what do you mean my wife literally hates me and raised him to be the worst son possible? It's like, God damn it. Outside of that, like, because like the big thing is like boys would pretty much be expected to like understand the basics of like how to take care of the farm and how to fight. Those would be like the two things. You may not be good at fighting, but you understand how to fight. Girls are expected to maintain the, keep the farm going and just be a good wife. It's one of those things when people say, oh, be a good wife. It's literally that. Be a good wife. And that's like, I know how to fix things. I know how to keep things in order. I know how to manage the thralls. Like, it also is kind of like a subtle push to get men to go into a very certain kind of character, while women can go to a very certain kind of character as well. If you want to play a shield man, if you want to play your tomboy Viking waifu who has a fighting of fucking 6, walks into any room, has a sword and just can rip and tear everybody, you can do that. You can totally do that. Everyone's going to be a little bit weirded out, but no one's going to want to probably fuck with her. And God help you all. God help whoever marries that woman. Yeah. I love my wife. She's great. What? My Viking dad raised me as his daughter, and how I crave barber cock. Sounds like a great hentai title. Hey, Vinland. Hey, all I'm saying is Vinland Saga's got, I think, got a few. Let's see. North Society, man of rank 1 and 2 warfare skills. Before dividing. Before assigning experience. So what we're gonna do now, we go here and I guess we can put these in like table format. Maybe if we do something like this and then we so what we'll do is you'll select all of these, and then we'll do the characters natural dexterity and an agile movement. The characters natural strength and natural strength and power, endurance. The characters constitution and health. Fighting. The character's fighting ability and skill. Actually, I should say is melee fighting ability and skill. And marksmanship. The character's keen eye with a bow or thrown object. And awareness. Character's eye for detail. And detect and seeing through deception. Cunning. The characters and natural intelligence and understanding. Deception. The character's ability to lie and deceive others. Persuasion, not that. Persuasion. The characters persuasive nature, and personality. And then will. The characters raw drive and force of personality. Yeah, we do that. These don't look perfect, but they will do for now. But yeah, no, like, here are your basic skills. Because yes, this is actually a skill-based system. There's no attributes or anything like that, even though, like, wait, isn't endurance just like an attribute? Yeah, but it's mostly a system like this. It's very, like, here are your warfare skills, here are your intrigue skills, here are how they kind of interact. Technically, I could probably call these more like physical skills. I guess you can call them physical. I think warfare seems a little bit, I'm going to call them physical skills. So physical, physical skill. Yeah, physical and intrigue. So we need to go to here. So what we need to do is we're going to write that here. So with the starting experience points by the character's age, they are able to invest in increasing their skills. They're increasing their skills. Let's see, each skill costs the amount of experience. Let's see, each skill costs the amount of experience equal to its next rank. So, equal to its next rank in order. For example, to have a rank 5 in a skill, the character would need to spend 15 experience. And then we're going to do a footnote. We'll do a footnote, and that footnote is going to be rank 1, 1 plus rank 2, 2. Actually, we'll do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals, and that's going to be, so that's 3, 6, 10, 15. Equal 15. Each rank must be purchased individually. Then we're gonna give them the chart. Give them the chat. So starting experience points, character's age. And the thing is, if this works correctly, this works actually the way I want it to work, I'll be able to adapt to the blood, coin, and steel system to just about anything. So then we'll give them the chart, where is... We'll do rank, name, and then experience cost. So rank 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So rank 0 is unskilled. Experience cost 0. Rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Novice. Novice, trained, skilled, proficient, superb. We'll do you. We will do center, middle. So I am going to put in a note here. So we're going to do a side note on averages and exceptional people. God. We'll do this. Well, okay, we need to do a side note. So side note on averages and exceptional people. An average person will have two in most things. Representing a basic understanding. We'll have a 1 to 2 in most things, simply representing the raw skills and abilities required to live in a harsh environment. Dealing how the characters themselves are exceptional. These averages can quickly increase. A seasoned warrior, a seasoned veteran of many raids. Raids may have a 3 to 5 in their fighting skill. While a crafty trader may have a 3 to 4 in their persuasion. The specialized characters should feel specialized. And understanding each what the household needs may be the difference between a rough winter and a prosperous summer. There we go. So yeah, you're always going to be like novice in a few things. And this is, mind you, I'm 15. Like, congratulations, you are literally 15 years old and you now have like the basic understanding of like how to swing an axe. Or like you have you're novice in like marksmanship and athletics simply because that, or you're a 15-year-old girl and like you're a little bit smart and you're pretty willful, but you're still like a fucking 15-year-old girl. Like, I'm not expecting you to be like this, you know, master fucking manipulator at 12. Like, so if we do that, age, skills, I'm gonna do Ved. So, characters are rarely average. So, need more concerning their fate. Every active character has Ved. Ved. Which I'm going to use a footnote, commonly associated with fate or something similar. Treat it as the all-seeing eyes of God, of the gods, i.e., you all, reflecting their ability to change fate and alter the course of history. That can be spent, which returns characters to the following session. Can be spent, which returns to the character in the following session, or burnt, which permanently removes one Ved to defy the fate or save the character. So, Ved can be spent to add another d6 to its skill, ignore penalty, activate a unit effect. Ved can be burnt. Save a inactive character from death. Save their family from disasters. Automatically succeed at a skill check. There we go. And you are very much encouraged. Godspeed, good luck. I'm going to be wrapping up here soon anyway. I wanted to get as much done as I could today. So let's see. Can be spent, can be burnt. Yeah, this isn't really changing much. Like, it doesn't, the thing is, this doesn't really need to change much because it's a pretty solid system. I think so. Very simple, but it kind of gives you the idea of like these, like if you're an active character and if you are a real human being, you're going to be able to kind of keep your character alive in certain situations, or you're going to be able to keep your character kind of kicking along, or maybe allow them to succeed when they really shouldn't. That's kind of one of the big ideas for it. It is a method for you, the player, to have a little bit more, little bit of hold over your character, rather than just like, well, I'm just gonna blindly believe in fate that everything's gonna work out. Like, you have a little bit more control. It's kind of like a meta currency, and it's kind of not a meta currency because it's kind of implemented into the system, into the setting, which is pretty much a lot of Norse people have a lot of Norse people in this era had a very strong connection with the idea of fate, destiny, and all of that idea. That was like those were big things. They were very real. And going against your fate is a good way of not ending well, but also going with your fate will also probably lead to disaster. So you kind of want to go back and forth on it. Save their family from disaster. So, which brings me to... Actually, we don't need blood coin seal. We can probably do this. So we'll do health and well-being. Let's see, so we're going to ignore this. I not really have the luxury of not being physically or mentally taxed by others. There are 4 values represent this: wounds, blood, willpower, and composure. Flesh wounds plague the battlefield. Each swing of an axe, slam of a hammer, or stab with a spear comes closer to striking home. Blood is the physical wounds and deadly strikes the character to the character. Each point lower. Each point lower. Each point approaching their untimely demise. Willpower is the ability to ignore the influence and listen to one's own moral compass and ability. And own moral compass and beliefs. While composure is the ability to resist being influenced fully by another and twisting character's view to the opponents. Reduced to 0, the character starts to lose blood and composure. If excess damage were to be taken, 8 harm with only 3 wounds remain. Wounds are reduced to 0, and there is no rollover. If excess were wounds or composure are reduced, wounds or willpower. Willpower is reduced to 0, but there is no rollover into composure, into blood or composure. I want to give people a little bit of leeway. Reduced with no penalty to the character. Capitalized, representing the ability to shrug off serious wounds and bent arguments. For serious wounds, the character is likely to see the value of the argument the opponent is making. Each point of blood or composure lost -2 for that conflict in question. Victor determines the consequences for combat victory and intrigued what technique was used. Okay, so we need to do that. We need to put you right here. Health and well-being. We're going to do this. I am going to change this a little bit. We're going to be 3, 3, 5, 5, 6. So pretty much kids are a lot easier to influence simply because they're kids. You're expected to kind of bend a little bit, while being older actually makes you a little bit harder to convince. You're stuck in your ways. Fuck you. Like, I'm not going to change who I am. However, kids are also going to be a little bit more fragile, while adults are going to have a little bit more, but then we're going to drop again. Yeah, adults and being an adult and being middle-aged, being an adult kind of at the peak of your life, you're going to be the most physically fit you can be at this point. You are strong, you are tough, you are ready to take on the world. The only problem is that no matter what happens, you're always kind of losing blood. Your just ability to kind of take those extra wounds, because blood isn't like you take 17 damage, you just lose 1 blood. It's just your health. So if you take 3 damage with 4 blood, you have 1 blood left. You've taken a pretty serious fucking wound. Like, you are not doing too hot. But it's like you're gradually losing things and you're becoming more and more fragile. But you're also getting more and more kind of stuck in your ways as you get older. Simply because you're an adult. Like, you can't teach you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Young adults do have that problem, which, like, they're a little bit easier to manipulate in some aspects. But they're also, you also get a little bit more in the way of, like, health and damage and how people are operating. They're kids. They can take a hit. They can kind of learn a little bit more, and you're able to develop them a lot easier. Let's see. Any blood loss during the next season? When a character survives. Didn't mean to hit Verdana. We need to hit Roboto. Character survives combat or intrigue, but is wounded. Takes time to recover. Wounds and willpower recover the next day or during a rest. Receive basic medical attention or just relaxes. The blood loss is the next season. Battle wounds and difficulty stacking up. Character is knocked out or maimed. He resets to 2 blood. Composure at a rate of 1 per day. Malleable, as they have already made a tough choice. Yeah, if you really want to fuck with people, you fuck with them one day, and then you can slowly start influencing them the next. That is how you kind of get people to do what you want. Benefits and drawbacks. I'm going to just put benefits and drawbacks here. Benefits and drawbacks. I'm not going to work on it today, though. I'm going to call it here for today. We actually made we made a good amount of progress. Like, characters are pretty much almost done. I don't think this game is actually going to be very long. I don't think this is going to be like 5 episodes. I think this is just going to be a lot of little stuff all stacking together to make it work. So, thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. I hope you all had a wonderful day, and I will see you on Friday. And on Friday, we're going to be going over this again. We're probably going to be working on a little bit more details, kind of doing as much as we can. And then on Saturday, we're